Today I wanted to go over why I do not think that the current iteration of WWE's Survivor Series is all that interesting, or compelling, or furthers along the story that they're trying to build up to WrestleMania. Yeah. So, one thing I want to say, and get it out of the way right now, if you do not agree, that's fine. I respect that opinion. This is just my personal thoughts. So, number one, I personally just do not think that the stakes are really all that important. The whole deal with the current iteration of Survivor Series, which has pretty much been this way since they split the brands in 2016, is that Raw goes against SmackDown, and the winner gets brand supremacy. Yeah. For starters, I mean, what does brand supremacy even really do? Oh, this brand is so much better. It has the stars, it has this and that, and yeah, obviously, the stars and everything, it's important, but there's really nothing that gets done because of this, honestly. Like, yeah, they get the showboat for about a week or two until the next pay-per-view happens, but like, really, that's not much of anything. I mean, don't get me wrong, seeing the world champions from each respective brand going against each other is pretty neat, but I wish there was, like, an outcome. I wish there was a reason. I wish there were stakes. Like, I wish, like, if the winner of this happens, then this brand gets this advantage over the other one. But really, there's nothing. There's nothing here. The second issue I have with this whole thing is that, I mean, it's too predictable. Every single time I watch one of these pay-per-views, it's always very obvious who is going to come out the victorious brand. Like, other than that one time when they hated NXT and they surprisingly came out and, won, every single time I watch this, it's always a clear advantage towards Raw. Raw always wins these things. Since the brand split came back, SmackDown has not won a single event. The only two brands that have won is Raw, obviously, and NXT. The more predictable that your product becomes, the less engaging it goes to the audience. You gotta switch things up every now and then. Coupled with problem number one, it really does not help this whole concept's existence. I like the concept of two different brands battling it out against each other, the best of each champion's respective secondary and primary titles going against each other and duking it out, but like, why should anyone care when, well, I mean, it doesn't really accomplish much anyway. It doesn't further along the story. There's no progression. I mean, these concepts are all dropped like pretty much a month or two after. And that's probably one of the problems, man. Coupled that with the predictability, and you see why, like, I personally just don't care for it. And finally, my last point. I mean, you pretty much get the idea. It really does not matter. Who wins these things does not essentially matter. It doesn't amount to anything. Every respective champion goes along like pretty much nothing freaking even happens. So, I mean, when you have a champion that pretty much just ignores the events that they just beat the other world champion, doesn't that technically make them the better world champion? Shouldn't they like use that to like further a story or something? But no, they kind of just don't. They drop it and they move on to another story. It's kind of half-baked and kind of a problem. What happened to the old Survivor Series where the tag team matches were kind of just their own thing and, they just did whatever. And I know in the background I have bragging rights, and yeah, that one wasn't great either. There really wasn't much amounting to it. Again, the concept is interesting, and the things they do, like play around with having like each brand go against each other, that's an interesting idea. But again, it's always about that execution, and with this, it just falls flat, man. It doesn't amount to much, and as a result, a lot of people just don't really care. I personally don't care. Why should I care? Give me a reason to care, WWE. I would really love to care about this stuff. Well, guys, see you in another long string of years when I finally decide to stop being a lazy piece of garbage and actually upload a video. Well, bye-bye.